Hello everybody, my name is Mike Lopez and I would like to welcome you today to CodersCult's third PHP training webinar entitled Basic Website Templating using PHP, HTML, and CSS. Good morning to everyone who are in countries where it's morning right now. Good evening to those who are at nighttime, and good afternoon to those in the afternoon, okay? I don't know where you are right now, but we thank you very much for coming over to this webinar, and we really appreciate. And all those who have attended the first two webinars as well, thank you very much for making the series a success thus far. We are very much encouraged to make more webinars, to do more webinars in the future, as we continue to see more of you guys express your interest in the things that we're doing. Okay, for those who are here for the first time, we will be accepting questions through Twitter. So please follow us at CodersCult on twitter.com/CodersCult, and then post your questions using the hashtag PHP training. Okay, don't forget to use the # before the word PHP training so that we could easily find your questions. We will try to answer as many questions as possible after the tutorial session. Okay. This webinar is brought to you by our sponsors, Wishlist Member, Internet Marketing Inc., and LearnPHP.co. Do us a favor, visit their websites, search for them in Google. I'm pretty sure they would list it as the first thing on Google when you search for Wishlist Member or Internet Marketing Inc. or even LearnPHP.co. Do me a favor, search for them, visit their sites, and just see if there's anything that this companies, our sponsors, can do for you. I would also like to introduce to our first-timers the Cult Masters. Okay, the Cult Masters are pretty much we three. Okay, the three of us. John Morris, who is the founder of LearnPHP.co, also a developer in Wishlist products. Ben Chariola, a longtime SEO guy, and is also the SEO director of Internet Marketing Inc. And yours truly, Mike Lopez, who is the senior developer for Wishlist products and founder of CodersCult.com. As you continue to attend more webinars, you would hear more from us as we try to make each webinar session as different as possible from the previous ones, which is why it's not just one speaker talking all of the time. Okay, the next webinar might be Bench or John, then it might be me again or somebody else. So again, please do us a favor and do follow us on Twitter so that you could easily contact us if you have questions. Okay, we are going to move right now onto the actual tutorial session, which is, at this point in time, is going to be presented by me. To be honest with you guys, it's just me. It's just me today because Bench is out of town. He's, I think, doing some talks in different places right now. And John, sad to say, is sick and has to rest at the moment. So please bear with me if I'm a little bit, out or all over the place when I'm doing this webinar. This is my first time to do my webinar on my own without any help from the other guys. All right. I'm more of a logical-minded guy. I'm more of a programming type of person instead of an artist or graphics kind of person. But that being said, I did my best. I tried to do my best to give you guys at least not a pleasing, not a beautiful, but also not an ugly website. Okay, so this is a 4-page website. Okay, you can see that we have the home page, we have the about page, the contact page, and the news page. Okay, these 4 pages compose our website. This is the home page we're looking at right now. You can see we have one big image here. We have some text about the image on the right side, and we have 3 widgets below, and of course the footer. And of course on top we have the header. Okay. If we go on to the about page, you would see that we have the header again. We have the home, about, contact, news links up there. Then we have a sidebar. Okay, as opposed to compared to the home page doesn't have a sidebar. Okay, the about page or the inner pages, okay, have their own sidebars. And of course, they also have their own footer. And on the left side of the sidebar, you would see the main content area. And if you go over to the contact section, you would see that it's pretty much the same as the about page. We have the header, we have the footer down below, we have the sidebar on the right, and the contact part, which is the content section of the page on the left side. And the news page or the blog page is again the same. We have the header, the sidebar. Scroll down, we have the footer, and up here on the left side we have the content. Okay, the blog listing or the article listings. Most websites nowadays are designed in such a way that the home page is different than the inner pages. Okay, because the home page is usually the landing page, and you want people to get into to easily understand what your site is all about. But we're not going to talk about aesthetics and site design concepts and whatever, but we're going to talk about templating today. Okay, what is PHP templating? What is templating? What is a website? What is website templating? Website templating is pretty much breaking down the sections of your website into reusable components. Okay, if you can see that, if you can see here, the header of the home page, the about page, the contact page, and the blog page or the news page are all the same. Meaning we could reuse that. Instead of having to edit 4 different files whenever we need to change something on the header, we just grab that part of the code, put it in a different file, and just include it later on. Okay, I will show you more about that. The same goes for the sidebar for the inner pages. The blog has the sidebar, the contact has the sidebar, and the about page of the sidebar. Therefore, we could also remove that and grab that and put that in its own separate file. And lastly, the footer. All of them have footers, including the home page, which means that we could also grab that and put that in its own separate file. The only thing that we do not put in its own separate file or in a common file are the content section, okay? Because, you know, an about page would always be different in terms of content to the contact page and the news page and the home page, okay? So that part is the only thing that is going to change whenever we use templating, okay? Templating is being used by almost every CMS, every content management system out there. WordPress, Drupal, Joomla, these CMS solutions or content management systems have their own templating systems, which pretty much works the same as what I'm going to show today. What I'm going to show is pretty much simple. It's pretty basic compared to the complexities of what I said, like WordPress, but it's going to give you a quick idea, and it will hopefully guide you into creating your own website templates, or at least understanding the templating systems used by the content management software that I mentioned earlier. So, what's the big difference between a regular web page or a regular HTML web page as opposed to a PHP-powered template? Okay, the easiest way for me to explain that is to look at the code. Okay, let me show you the code for the regular HTML pages. Okay. Over here, you would see that here's the index HTML. So you can see the code for the header is the same as the news page. See that? This is the news page. This is the home page. The only thing that changed is what? The title on top, because that changes for every page, and some class name on the body. Okay, so you can see the news page have its own class called blog. Okay, and the about page is almost the same. Okay, see over here, the only thing that changed is the header, or sorry, the title, and we don't have any class names for the body, and the same for the contact page. Now, if we look down the contact page, we also have a sidebar. Okay, the about page would also have a sidebar. There you go, and the news page. Let's scroll down. There you go. That's the news page. And of course, if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll also see the footer. And in the middle of that are the content. Okay, here we have our content entries. The about page would have its content as well over here, and the contact page would have its content as well. The only difference is that the home page would have a different format for the content because it doesn't have a sidebar. It has its own splash page and everything. Okay, so what I'm trying to show you here, what I'm trying to point out here is that think about maintaining a website with 60 pages or 70 pages or 80 pages. Now, I know that sites like this exist because I've started back in the day where most websites are just, regular HTML web pages, and we have like 30, 40 pages in there, which we have to update every time we make a change, because those sites are static websites. Without templating, even if you have PHP, if you don't use templating, imagine updating all these pages if you have to just change the header or add a new link on the sidebar or add a new link on the footer or change the copyright notice or change the image for the header. So these things, if you don't have a templating system, if you need to change them, you have to go through all of them. Okay, go through all the pages that we have, and you would see that they would now all be, you would have to update all of them one by one in order for you to make a successful update the website. So there are times that you might not update all of them, so you have to go back and change them. So in other words, it's just not an efficient way to maintain a website. Okay, you need a templating system, and comes in PHP and CSS. Okay, together of course with HTML. What we do is that earlier I showed you that certain parts of the code are the same, right? If certain parts of the code are the same, logic states that you could copy that part of the code and stick them into their own sections. Okay, look at this. The header code is now being converted to just this part. We grab the header code, put it in header.php, and then dynamically specify the page title over here and the site title, which is specified by config file. We also dynamically specify the body class if there's anything specified for that as well. The same thing is, we do the same thing for the footer. You can see the footer's over here. See that? Over here, everything is pretty much static. Nothing special about this. But what we did is that we grabbed the code from the footer of the index.php or whatever HTML files we have earlier and stick it in here because they're all the same. And for the sidebar, we also do the same thing. See that? So we just stick the sidebar code over there so that we could just include it later on. Okay. Now, these are special files because they are global files. Okay. And to help templating, we also specify an initialization file, which defines the base directory, which includes the configuration file, which checks for the page title if it's specified by the requesting page. If it's not, then it sets the page title to the file name that's currently being called. And tell the system that, okay, the template is now loaded. Okay, we just define this thing. We just create a constant called template loaded with a value of 1. Okay, this is very important so that it's a lot easier for us to know, okay, the template is now loaded. Okay, if it's not loaded yet, then this constant would not be defined yet. That way we can easily know whether the template is up or not. And on the config file, we just, for now, we have just one entry in here, which is the site title, science in nature. Okay. Usually, complex content management systems or templating systems would have a huge config file specifying lots of different things like paths and a database, login information, and whatnot. Okay. So for now, for simplicity's sake, we just keep our config file this simple. Okay. Now we also have two separate templates. We have the page template, which is what we're going to use for the inner pages. So you can see what it does is it includes the initializations, the init.php file. We include the header.php file. Then we include the requested page, okay, enclosed in a div. We include the sidebar, and then we include the footer. That's it. See, that's the thing. Simple as that. Now we also have the home page template or home.php. Let me add the file name here so you can see that. Okay, and what it does is a little bit separate, a little bit different than the page.php file in that here we just include the initialization script. We specify the body class, which is going to be used by the header. Then we include the header, include the requested page enclosed in the div tag, okay, and then include the footer. Notice that we don't include the sidebar here because we don't need a sidebar in the home page. Okay, now how does this thing work? How does this thing work? Let me minimize that, put that over to the side a little bit. And let's look at first the about page that we have. Okay, earlier we have about.html, which I'm going to compare here. Where's that? Okay, this is about.html static. Okay, without templating system, we have the header, we have the head, we have the title, the sidebar, the footer, and the content itself. Okay, and with the use of templating system, you can see that since we now remove the header, we just put in a separate file. All we now to do is check if the template has been loaded. Okay, how many lines of this? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 lines of code over here is pretty much the heart of the templating system. This is a very, very simple template system. Okay, what it does is first it checks if the template is loaded. Remember that define template loaded one line we have at the init.php file. Okay, if that is not specified yet, then we do the templating. Okay, what we do is tell the system that, okay, I want you to use about as the page title, and then this is the requested page, which is assigned the value of the special constant file itself is currently running. Okay, so we assign it to a variable so we can pass it over to our template system, to the page.php file, which I showed you earlier. We then include the template slash page.php file, then terminate the process, quit. We exit about.php at this point. We don't load the content yet. Okay, that content will now be loaded by the templating system, by page.php. Let's put this on the side, and so you can see, let's hide this. There you go. So you can see how the system works. Okay, about.php over here on the left side checks, is the template loaded? No. Okay, specify the title, specify the requested page, and include what? Include page.php, which is over here on the right side. Okay, page.php includes the init file, okay, which does all the configuration stuff and everything, and it also tells us, it also defines the template loaded constant, so that we now know that the template has already been loaded. Okay, then what else do we do? We include the header, okay, which is the upper part of the code. Okay, because it's common, we just include that. Then we include the requested page, which according to about.php is about.php. We just assign that. All right, we include that, which is enclosed in the div tag for CSS purposes, for styling purposes. Then we include the sidebar, and then we include the footer. Now look at this. About.php, since it's almost the same to contact.php, the only thing that changes is the body of the code itself. But with templating, you would see that the only thing now that changed besides the content for the templating calls is the page title. Okay, look at this part. This is for about. You see here, we say about.php, about, and with contact.php, we call it contact. It's just the page title. Okay, so same thing happens is it checks if the template is loaded. If not, it specifies the title, specifies the requested page, includes page.php, which is our page template, which then runs the init file, which then includes the header, and then includes the requested page, which is basically back to contact.php. Now, when it goes back to contact.php checks once again if the template is loaded. And since init has already run, the variable, the constant template loaded is already specified. Therefore, we now skip this part of the code and jump directly over to the content. So the content is the only part that's now included. Now, after we do that, we go back to the page.php, the page template, and include sidebar and include the footer. Same again for news.php. See that? Same concept, same thing, except that here we specify the body class, which is just an additional thing that we want the header to do. Okay? And what about the index.php, the home page? The home page is a little bit different. Okay? All this is same process still, same process up here. Okay? Instead of loading page.php over here on line 5, let me just name this so that you could easily identify this again. There you go. Okay, still checks if the template is loaded. If not, specifies the title, specifies the requested page, but includes a different template file. Instead of page.php, it includes home.php, which we're going to check on the right side. Okay, includes home.php. Home.php would now run init.php, would specify the body class, which is special for our home page, and then what? Includes the header. See, same thing. It includes a requested page, which is again index.php for the content part, and then could notice here that we directly include the footer. We did not include the sidebar because we don't need a sidebar for the home page, at least for our design. So what does it look like for the site? This is the regular HTML page, as you can see, and this is the page for the for the PHP files or the template files. Okay, this is the template version of the same site. You can see here, it's the same here, the same here, and the same as well for the news page. The same, exactly the same. Okay. So now, thinking about that, if you look at it, you would see that it's not much of a difference on the front end. True. I mean, people visiting your website wouldn't really notice the difference between the two. But you, as the developer, as the person who creates the web page, as the person who updates the web page and maintains the web page or the website, will have a very much easier life, because now, if you want to change something, you just need to change one file, at least for the global files. Okay, so let's go back to our script here. Say I want to change. This is the HTML version. Sorry, let me switch to the PHP version. Okay, I want to change about us to just about. Okay, all I need to do is go to header. The header, which is over here. Let's look for the header. Okay, look for the line that says about us and change that to about. Save that file. Go back to our browser and hit refresh. About us is now just about. Let's check that again for contact. About us, refresh, about. For the about page, about us, refresh, about. And the same for the home page. Easy. Now I only edited one file, just one line. Okay? If this was just plain HTML without template, I would have to edit 4 files. And imagine now if I have 100 files to edit, 100 pages to edit. With a templating system, I just need to edit one file. Without a templating system, I would have to edit all 100 pages. Imagine that. All right? Very cumbersome, very prone to error, and very, very inefficient. Okay. Say, what about the home page? Okay, let's look at the home page over here. Say, what if I want to change the footer? Oh, sorry, on the home page, actually, it's a little bit different. We don't have the sidebar. So sorry about that. Let's just go to About page. Say I want to remove CNN.com from the related sites. Sorry if you're a CNN person. If anybody from CNN is listening to this, I'm sorry about that. Okay, let's not just remove CNN.com. Let's just remove Live Science. Okay, Live Science. Let's just remove that. Sorry then if you're from Live Science. So we have sidebar. Go to livescience.com. Sorry, Live Science over here. This is the About page you're viewing right now. There you go. Live Science is gone. Let's view the contact page. There you go. Sorry. Live Science is gone. The blog page, Live Science is gone. Again, one file to edit, everything is changed. Okay. What if I wanted to change the footer? Okay. If I want to change the footer, say I want to update the footer so that About here would now say About Me or About Us. Save that one file, refresh, and see, it's updated on the footer. Contact, refresh, it's now updated. About, updated. Even the home page, updated. Okay, I guess you get the point. Okay, with a templating system, you edit one file and you're done. Okay, if you need to make a global change to your site, just edit one file and you're done. Okay, now what about the CSS part? I mentioned earlier that CSS is also involved in templating. It's actually very, very involved in templating, because without CSS, you would see an ugly website over here. But how does it help in terms of updating the website? How does it help in terms of designing or changing the appearance of the site? Imagine this. Say I have, how do I say that? Say I have a client, and client goes, you know what, Mike? I don't like your header. I don't like the flower thing. I want bamboos. Okay. So all you need to do now is go to the style.css file, the CSS line for that, and change the background for the header, which I already have over here. Okay, let me copy that first. This is for the bamboo. Copy that. Save. Do that. Refresh. There you go. We now have bamboo. Over here, yes. Over here, yes. And over here. Yes, but we are actually changing the CSS file itself. What about, imagine this, what about you design multiple style sheet files with different designs, different colors, different fonts, okay? And you deploy the same templating system that we have in PHP, put that out there, and then include all your different style sheets so that the person could actually specify which style he wants to use or which appearance he wants to use. Okay, so for the very basic comparison, let me show you something. I created another style sheet called style2.css. And this window you're seeing right now is a diff window. So it shows what I changed from on the left side, which is style.php, on the style.css, on the right side, style2.css. You can see that I changed the color for the A tag. See that? I changed the color when you mouse over the A tag. Scroll down. I changed the height of the header. I changed the header image to our bamboo image. I changed the colors of the links on the header. When you mouse over them, I also changed the color of that as well. So far, I just changed all those. Okay, there are lots of things you can change, and I'm just trying to show you what kind of things you could do if you do multiple style sheet files as different designs. Let's go to our header.php file. Okay, change style.css to style2.css. Okay, let me open this page on a different window, a different tab rather. Okay. Oh, you know what? Sorry. Too many mouse clicks. Let's look at. Let me just switch it back to the regular file so that you can see the difference. This is the regular one. Okay. Now let me switch it over to style2 again, and open on a separate tab. Okay. This is, you can see now the regular one with the flower and the yellow links on top. Okay. But then and the height of the header also is just pretty skinny or pretty short, but then we change it to the new template, the other template. Let me zoom that a little bit so that's the same. Okay, and you can see that the text is now white, and when you hover over it, it's now yellow instead of yellow over white. You can see here. And the header is now taller as well. See that? It's now bamboo, and it's also taller by 25 pixels. So that's what CSS templating can do. If you think the heart of templating is first PHP, which handles all the redundant code, the redundant HTML code, and then we also have CSS for the style. Okay, if you look at WordPress, WordPress has included a default theme for every WordPress install that they have, right? We have 2010, they have 2011, they have 2012, and on their next release, they're going to have 2013 as their theme, their default theme. Now, this default theme is easily stylable. People could actually grab the theme, which is actually a template, grab that, and then change the style sheet, update that, change everything, change the font, and create a whole new theme for WordPress without actually changing the core of WordPress, without actually touching any part of the code. Okay, that's the beauty of a templating system. Okay, and you've just seen the tip of the iceberg over here. You're just tasting what could be done with templating. Okay, and templating is, I would say, is probably the biggest thing for me ever since I started website development. Ever since I learned and understood templating, creating websites has just been much, much faster than before. Now, if I talk to somebody, I could easily, come up with something. And since the code is actually reusable, I could use the template that I use from another client, use it for the new client, and just change the style sheet, change the content, and that's it. I don't have to rewrite everything. I don't have to redo everything because the templating system is already there. So hopefully this short webinar, this short tutorial gave you an idea of what you could do with PHP, HTML, and CSS in terms of creating templates for websites. I do understand that it's a little bit short, and some of you might, be a little bit confused. But please, again, learning is something that you have to do over and over and over again. I didn't learn this whole thing in 13 minutes, which is pretty much time that we have spent here right now. I didn't learn this in just one day. It actually took me, what, a month probably to understand the whole concept of templating, to actually hone my skills to use it, to actually make it better as I continue to move along. So what we're actually trying to do here is lead you into the right direction, see the concepts, grab the concepts, and start doing your own thing. Don't worry about issues. There's lots of forums and websites out there that you can find for tutorials. And of course, CodersCult is here to answer your questions. So if you have questions right now, please go ahead, ask them on Twitter. If you don't have questions right now, but you eventually have questions in the future, then go ahead, post it on Twitter, and we will do our best to answer that. Also visit our website so you can answer that. So go ahead. We're waiting for questions. All right, looking at the questions right now. Okay, 1 minute. Okay, scrolling down, we have a few questions. One is from Carlo Monte. It's asking what text editor I'm using, which IDE I'm using. I'm actually using NetBeans. You could download it from netbeans.org. And the reason why I am using NetBeans is, first, it's cross-platform compatible. You could use it in Windows, Mac, or in Linux, and it will all be the same because it is actually Java-powered. The downside to NetBeans is that it's kind of bulky in terms of functioning. If you have a slow computer, it's probably not a good idea to use NetBeans. But if you have a pretty, not necessarily a very powerful computer, but you just have an average computer that runs pretty well, I would recommend NetBeans as your editor. It could handle PHP, C++, Java, whatever language you use. Now, on the other hand, I also use another text editor called Tex Wrangler on the Mac. So if you're using Mac, I would advise you to install Tex Wrangler. It's free. For quick edits. It's sort of like Notepad++ in Windows. It's very, very fast, very, very easy to use, and for just for quick edits. Okay. What else? Thank you very much to Wayne for sharing the webinar, and also to Cosmic Dogro for sharing the YouTube channel as well for that. Okay, Carlo again. Okay, Wayne asked the same question about the editor, so I guess it's already been answered. NetBeans again for cross-compatible, and for more functionalities. For simple stuff, just use Notepad++ on Windows, Tex Wrangler on the Mac, and on Linux there's actually a bunch of text editors that you could use. But I typically use gedit or kedit, whichever Linux OS I'm using. Carlo again asked, can we get the exercise files for the sample? Sure. If you are registered on the webinar, if you subscribe to the mailing list, I will send the files, the zip file, over to you within the day, within 24 hours. So check out your email for that. Okay. Any more questions? Looking. Okay, Adonis Chico said he tried to access the webinar, but the browser keeps on looping. Okay, I hope that was fixed. That was an issue earlier, but I guess that was fixed. I'm not sure if Adonis is even here right now. I just saw that. I'm sorry for that. As you can see, technical issues always happen in the computer world. All right. Okay, any more questions about the training? About how you could use a template system? Is it clear? Just let me know if you have questions. We'll wait. Actually, I think I want to show you something as well. Let me open the file. Hold on. Okay, I think I need to clarify the way that the template does the includes and everything. Just in case some of you were not able to catch on that earlier. But let me share. Tex Wrangler. Okay, this is the other editor that I'm using. It's Tex Wrangler. Hopefully you can see it. Okay, let's open about.php first. Okay. Hopefully this line over here, line number 3, is already pretty clear. It's just just a check if the template has already been called, and then it calls the template file over at line 6. Some people asked me before when I was doing a demo of this on a school if it won't result in an include loop, because about.php includes page.php, and if you actually look at page.php, it would also include the requested page, which is also about.php. So in other words, it keeps on looping and looping. So the quick fix for that, and actually it's the main reason why we have this defined template loaded line over here, is to actually prevent that from happening. So what happens when the template is not yet loaded, then of course we load the template, which is page.php, then page.php reloads about.php. So for the second time, about.php checks if the template has already been loaded. And since it's already been loaded, it now skips this line and moves on to the actual content itself. So that's how it prevents the never-ending loop, which is a common problem among programmers. Hopefully that was clear. Okay. Okay, we have more questions from Wayne. How did you learn to use CSS? Is there any resource you would suggest so we can learn more? Yeah, sure. One that I would recommend, let me open the browser window here, is W3 Schools. Let me try to open that first. Okay, w3schools.com. Oh, sorry, I haven't shared it yet. Sharing the window. Sorry about that. I can't share the entire screen for some reason. Where's this? Here we go. Okay, if you can see the page, it's w3schools.com. They have lots and lots and lots of tutorials here. It's not just CSS. They have HTML, HTML5. Let me zoom that a little bit. CSS, CSS3. So this site would actually prepare you in terms of getting to know more about the technology themselves, because webinars like this that we do right now is limited by time. So we just do it in a 1 hour time period. Half of it is being spent on question and answers. So what we could just do is just lead you and show you what's possible, then guide you and answer your questions if you have any. But still, the best learners know how to dig know how to dig the internet on resources like this. So this w3schools.com is pretty good. They have also JavaScript, jQuery, Ajax, and all of this advanced stuff as well. And another one is HTML Goodies. This is actually the first site where I learned HTML from. This is, I don't know, like more than 8 years, about 10, 12 years ago. So pretty much similar to W3 Schools, except that it's, I would say that it's more easier to understand. It's a lot more basic compared to W3 Schools, because w3schools.com kind of assumes that you already have some idea of web design. Okay. Carlo, from your example, is that theme for WordPress? No. The theme, I wrote the template from scratch, just for the sake of doing the demo. Because if you're going to show you a WordPress theme, it's going to be very, very, very complex. Like, they have lots of different files and lots of actions and different stuff. But they do use the same concept. WordPress and all the other content management systems do the includes of the sidebar, of the header, of the footer, checks if the template has been loaded, but it also has additional functionalities, like if it can execute functions when some part of the template is already loaded, and so on and so forth. John Morris, my partner here in CodersCult, is going to tackle that in the future. He's going to tackle more about advanced templating. hopefully you would be able to be on that webinar, Carlo. Okay, and Cosmic Doggerel, can you explain the difference between PHP and CSS again? Thanks. PHP is a server-side script. Okay. I would advise that you take a look at the first webinar because you explain it there a lot. But in a quick summary, PHP is a server-side script. It runs on the server. PHP is, has logic in it. PHP can handle commands from you. Say, it can handle like if and then. Say, if the user does this, then do this. Or if the template is loaded, then do this. So it can handle all of those stuff, and plus more, of course. But a CSS, on the other hand, is mostly only for styling a web page. Okay, it's a front-end script. It runs on the browser, as opposed to PHP, which runs on the server. And CSS, or cascading style sheet, is mostly used for designing or styling the website. Plus, it doesn't have logic in it. It doesn't do if and thens. No logic in it. There are some proposals to add at least minor logic into the future versions of CSS, but so far it's not being implemented yet. So yeah, that's the difference between PHP and CSS. But both of them are used extensively in templating. PHP handles the backend side, which files gets to be included and so on, and CSS handles the front-end side, the browser side, in terms of how the user sees the final result of the website. Okay. Any more questions? Looking. Okay, I guess that's it. Unless somebody else wants to add, more ask more questions. Let me change the screen again. Need to fix this. Okay. Once more, I would like to encourage everybody to please follow us on Twitter, twitter.com. It will help you in terms of communicating with us. It's probably going to be not the only line, but probably the fastest line for us to communicate, because it's monitored by me, John, and Benj. So we could answer the questions as you continue to post them using the hashtag PHP training. So last minute questions. Still none. Okay, I'll give you a few more seconds to ask. 10, 9. Okay, Wayne asks, I have Notepad++. How did you get it? Show the two sides with the differences. Okay, that part was handled by NetBeans, not Notepad++. NetBeans has a feature called diff, which is used by versioning systems like CVS, SVN, and Git. So it basically compares the differences between two files or the history of your file. So Notepad++ cannot do that. I'm sorry if I was not clear on that. So if you want to do those features, I advise that you install NetBeans from netbeans.org. Again, it's free. It's kind of bulky, but it's free and it's nice. Okay, anybody else? 10, 9, 8. I like this. It's like a rocket is launching. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Okay, as much as we'd like to go on, we have to end the webinar. If you have more questions, please don't hesitate to continue posting them on Twitter, and we will be monitoring our Twitter account throughout the rest of the day and even possibly on the weekend as well. Hopefully Benj and John will be able to help on that as we move along. Hopefully John would get better, and I believe Benj would now be, by the time, will be back in San Diego, so would be able to see that as well. But just keep on following us on Twitter. If you want to communicate, if you want to ask questions, or if you just want to get in touch, then yes, please do follow us on twitter.com/CodersCult. If you have questions, don't forget to add the hashtag PHP training if you have PHP related or at least website development questions. All right, we will try to answer as many questions as possible, so forgive us if we somehow miss your question. Again, this webinar is brought to you by our sponsors, which is Member, Internet Marketing Inc., and learnphp.co. Please, once more, do us a favor, check them out, search for them in Google, visit their websites, and see if there's anything that they can do for you guys. And lastly, thanks to you. Thanks for making this webinar a success. This webinar is currently being recorded. We are going to upload the recording within the week. We're going to send you an email when the recording is ready. If you already subscribed to our mailing list, then you will receive the notification for that. And if for some reason you are not yet registered on our mailing list, if you're not yet subscribed, then please do so. It's free. Go to CodersCult.com/webinars. You would see there a form where you can subscribe for our next webinar or the replay webinar. So then once you're in there, we're just going to follow up on you on our upcoming trainings. Thank you very much. Once more, thank you very much for making this webinar a success. See you next time.